Hi everyone, this is Legend of Korra, Season 4, Episode 10, Operation Beifong, aka Shit Yeah. This was a good episode. This was a fun episode, a lot of action, a lot of cool stuff going on, some good character development stuff with the Beifong family. It was good. It was good. So, first thing we learned from this episode is that Lin Beifong is a Pokemon. No, I mean, I'm kidding, but the fact that they named her father Kanto, odd choice. I know it's a actual region of Japan, but to the English-speaking audience, somebody says Kanto, most of us are gonna think Pokemon. Anyway, that's a quibble. That aside, so basically this episode is mostly a raid on a prison camp, which, was basically just like other Avatar prisons, it was specialized to hold benders, yada yada yada. It wasn't, like a re-education camp or something, which again, I don't think they're going to show that. Asami came up with the idea, and she and Varric designed a flying mech, which I hope will be awesome. We got a nice little nuclear weapons kind of a parable with President Raiko. Come to think of it, that's another Pokemon. That's actually a Pokemon, isn't it? Anyway, President Raiko saying that he wants spirit energy weapons of his own, and Varric refusing to design them. Julie, likewise, is reminiscent of efforts by some of the scientists who helped sabotage the German atomic bomb program. At great risk to themselves, they were scientists employed by the Nazis and worked to undermine the Nazi attempts to develop their own nuclear weapons. And I mean, the Nazis didn't develop nuclear weapons. It's, what ifs in history are hard, but it's possible that without these people's tremendous risks, the Nazis could have. Of course, in this universe, the canon is completed and developed and punches a hole through a mountain with a visual and a sound effect very similar to Rava's weapon, which is interesting. We also get the interesting scene where the spirits basically tell Korra, screw you. And honestly, their argument is pretty good. Korra really is doing the same thing as Kuvira. She wants to use spirits in a human war. And this is an attitude that we've seen ever since Wan Shi Tong back in the first series. Spirits do not appreciate getting involved in human conflicts, getting drawn into them. They never have, so it makes sense that they would refuse to help Korra. I suspect they will probably end up helping her in some way anyway, but maybe it'll be in a non-military way. Who knows? Or maybe they'll agree to help Juvira because they like her. Opal and Bolin, I guess, are back together. They're a cute couple. That's cool. Bolin's hero worship of Toph was great because that's basically what I would be like around Toph. I would just be totally fanboying and it would be incredibly embarrassing. I'm kind of jumping around the episode at random, but the rescue mission isn't that much to talk about. It's an extended action sequence. More kind of the little detail bits where interesting stuff to talk about happens. For example, Toph's line about why Katara didn't help and you have to leave it up to the kids and her back hurts. I don't like it. The reason I don't like it is in Avatar The Last Airbender, all their teachers, all the older generation, was all women. Or, I'm sorry, was all men. You know, Jung Jung and Iroh and Paku and the sword guy whose name I'm completely blanking on. They were all men. And they were still going around kicking ass and taking names as old men. Now, all of a sudden, the old ladies can't do the same. I mean, it was seriously something that I really wanted to see, was Katara and Toph kicking some ass. Zuko can join in if he likes, because Zuko is cool. I mean, heck, Zuko is running around still getting involved in things as of last season. They could have found something for them to do. And it bothers me that they didn't. At least Toph got her badass moment here where she, completely took out Kuvira's fighting force for long enough to get everybody else to safety. She is still the greatest earthbender in the world, and don't you forget it. Also, she called Bolin a dick. That was pretty cool. I mean, she said dipstick, but that's what it is. It's a penis. It's one of those euphemisms that, you can sneak past the radar because technically a dipstick is a thing you use to check the oil level in your car. But really, it's a penis. And she called Bolin one. And it was great. Because that's Toph. And of course there's the whole thing with her and Lin. Which, I mean, really it just comes down to the two of them being too similar to get along. But, Lin being resentful over not having a dad, yeah, okay. I can see that. Lin is so straight-laced, so determined to, do things the right way and be the right kind of person and so on and so forth, that for her being, having this difference from the other kids probably was really upsetting, and the fact that her mother wouldn't talk about it, and then randomly does talk about it with Bolin, I can see that bothering her quite a lot. It clearly does. It works with her character. And it also works that we very clearly see that, it really is just the fact that, let's face it, two Tophs in the same room is never going to work. Liz isn't Toph. She's less cranky and less awesome, but the principle holds. I really enjoyed them eating cup noodles. The fact that those now exist in this world, especially considering that they were invented in the aftermath of World War II. It's actually a cool story. You should look it up sometime. The guy who invented them was looking for a way to use the ingredients that the American relief efforts were supplying, which were not ingredients that the Japanese generally knew how to work with. It was stuff like wheat flour. And looking for a way to create something from them that the Japanese would, be able to eat and eat quickly. And he came up with instant noodles, which at the time were made from wheat flour. I believe nowadays they're usually made from rice flour, which would be the more traditional Japanese way. But at the time, he made bricks of noodles out of it and then sold those. Supposedly, he ate it twice a day for his entire life and lived into his 90s. All I can say is his body must have been really better than most at processing sodium, because there's a ton in those things. I've never cared for them, but I really liked seeing everyone eat them. It was a very cute sequence. Especially the way they were gesturing with the noodles, and it was adding on to their expressions. It was a very well animated sequence. During the back and forth between Lin and Toph, I was watching Bolin and Opal's reactions, and they were just great. So that was really good. I was not expecting the Beifong family feels I got at the end. As, feels as the children say. I just really was it blindsided me, and I really liked it. Toph, that's as close as Toph is ever going to get to apologizing to her daughters. You know, she admits she was a bad mother. She tells them that they're great kids. And she says that, I mean, it's really actually kind of heartbreaking when she tells them that she just hopes they don't hate her. I mean, that's... She knows she screwed up a lot. And she's sorry for it, but she can't completely admit that. So instead she just says she hopes they don't hate her. And they know her well enough to know what she means, that she means sorry. That was a strong moment. That I felt that. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about this episode. The metal bending fight between Kuvira and Sue. Metal bending fight between Kuvira and Sue. No wonder I can't remember her name. What a boring name. That was really cool fight sequence. The bit where she bends, like she takes that door or whatever it was, and uses it to block attacks while it's spinning, and then just kind of pulls it onto herself in its armor all of a sudden. That was very cool. Also, I really, really liked the pose when Toph calls Kuvira a disgrace to metalbenders, because it's such a classic Toph pose. It's the pose she would use to call people out in the ring when she was in Earth Rumble. So, I mean, that's her trash talking, and, you know, that's going right back to her professional wrestling days, which are, 70 years ago at this point? 75 years ago? I liked it. I've mentioned before, I really love the way they animate Toph, where you can see all the mannerisms of the little girl we knew from the previous series still present in this old woman, who moves like an old woman but has the mannerisms of that little girl. It's really very well done. Like I said, I'm still a little iffy on her voice. It's kind of a generic old lady voice. I don't hear a lot of Toph in the voice. I hear a lot of Toph in the lines. But it's still, like, the quote-unquote acting of the animated character. You know, the body language that the animators are giving her is really excellent and really kind of carrying the character. It seems kind of implied that she's going to be sitting the rest of this thing out. Sad, but that's the way they're going, that's the way they're going. That, you know, this has to be left to the next generation. Okay, that's a thing. That's doable. It's not that different from some of what Iroh said about how he couldn't fight the Fire Lord, but he had a thing to do. I just wish the old people had a thing to do. Like, maybe they sneak behind enemy lines to liberate Zaofu during all of this, or some kind of, they attack somewhere to draw off some of Kuvira's forces. Something to give the old people something to do. But, okay, fine. I'm okay. And so, of course, the episode ends with the big cliffhanger. They've got 2 weeks until she attacks Republic City, which, by an astonishing coincidence, is the amount of time from when this episode aired to when the finale aired. Dun, dun, dun. When the finale aired being, as of this recording, last night. I believe I mentioned I'm marathoning these because of spoilers. I should probably mention this. Fortunately, nothing has come up where it would have influenced my discussion of the episode, but I have been spoiled for 2 things that happen at the end of the finale. One of them is a fairly major thing that I will definitely be wanting to talk about when we get to it. I'm not happy about having been spoiled. I was doing a very good job of avoiding them this morning, but someone basically, I don't think intentionally, but basically tricked me into the big spoiler. And after that point, there was no longer really a point in avoiding them, because that spoiler was the only thing anyone was talking about. I'm sure by the time this video comes out, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but on the off chance there's one of you who has not seen the episode in question, was watching along with these or something. Yeah. But, like I said, thankfully, nothing has come up with that would influence my analysis or where it would, skew things. We'll see next episode if there's anything like that. Hopefully not. But I will attempt to refrain from passing on the spoiler and try my best to, stick to analyzing this as if I were unspoiled. That is the only spoiler I have, that these two things happen, which I guess technically also spoils that the total of 4 characters involved in these two things do survive. But none of them are really characters I was concerned about them dying. So, yeah, pretty much the only spoiler is that these two events occur. I guess technically I just spoiled for you that the series doesn't end with everyone dying and Kuvira winning, but unless you have never watched television before in your life, I think you already knew that. Okay? That's it. And I will see you all. I'm going to go make myself some dinner and eat it while I watch the next episode, and then I'll record. And then after that, it's the finale. Talk to you guys then.